I want to bring my attention now to the Department of Community Safety and the work that it does to prevent crime. When I talk with residents about what makes a neighborhood strong, safety comes up in nearly every conversation, but not just safety from crime, not just locks on doors and lights on streets. People often discuss safety in terms of fear, trauma, and disconnection, in terms of the weight they carry and the worries that keep them up at night. They want their children to walk to school without worry. They want neighbors who look after each other. They want city systems that take care enough to act before tragedy strikes, before the wound is inflicted rather than after. That's why we created the Department of Community Safety, to move from reaction to prevention, and to treat safety as a public health issue, not just as a law enforcement matter. Violence doesn't appear out of nowhere like some sudden thunderstorm. It grows where opportunity, connection, and stability are missing, where hope has been deferred so long that it withers on the vine. This department's work begins there, at the root, not at the symptom. In its first year, the Department of Community Safety worked to understand the roots of violence and the conditions that make people feel unsafe, to name the demons before we could cast them out. Through the Community Safety Survey, we learned that over 80% of respondents had experienced some form of trauma, racism, or bullying. These are not isolated acts, random misfortunes, or scattered across the community like leaves. They are indicators of stress and inequity that are woven into the fabric of our community, threads of pain running through the whole cloth. So we are addressing safety from every angle, expanding youth engagement, investing community-based interventions, coordinating with public health and law enforcement, and supporting families before and after crises occur. We are developing strategies to stop retaliatory cycles of violence, to break the chain before it wraps around another generation, to strengthen neighborhood cohesion, and improve trust between residents and police. This work that saves lives and rebuilds trust, and also aligns city operation with the same goal, that every Racine resident gets to live, work, and exist in a same neighborhood without the hope of being lost and the fear of crime and dread. The department continues implementing its 5-year comprehensive safety plan, will strengthen collaboration across departments, with nonprofit partners, and with residents themselves. When we invest in prevention, in connection, and in the dignity of every person, we're not just building a safer Racine, we're building a stronger one, a community that stands together rather than falls apart. Our work to reduce gun violence in this space has been substantial, and the numbers tell a story worth hearing. Non-domestic homicides are down 62% in the last 4 years. Non-fatal shootings are down 60% over the time period. I want to be clear about this point, clear as spring water. While the trends are headed in the right direction, if you or your family have been a victim of gun violence, it is at 100% in your household. I don't want to minimize that or paper over that for a second with statistics. But I do want to talk about what works. The Department of Community Safety is built on evidence-based models for reducing gun violence. It takes a public health approach to reducing gun violence by intervening with the families that may be at risk of being the victims and the perpetrators of the cycle of gun violence, stopping the wheel before it crushes another generation. So let me give you an example, a very recent example of the work that this community does. For the particular always illuminates the general better than abstractions ever could. This past week, we saw senseless gun violence at the Tyler Domer Community Center, a place that is meant to be a sanctuary from violence and a safe space for families, a place that should be sacred ground. What makes it worse is this event involved 2 16-year-olds engaged in gun violence, and a 14-year-old was struck by ricochet gunfire as well. Children, all of them, barely started in life. Now, the police quickly got to the scene, made arrests, and the case will make its way through the court system. The police did an excellent job solving this crime, bringing swift justice as they are trained to do. But in the wake of that gun violence, the families of the injured are headed to the same hospital and concerned for their loved one's safety. They are angry, they are confused, they are hurt, and afraid for what might happen next. And they are all in the same space, grief and rage mixing together like volatile chemicals that could explode at any moment. This space right there is where the Department of Community Safety plays a critical role, stepping into that dangerous space between tragedy and revenge. Working with police, the county, and the school district, our staff arrive at these scenes to answer questions, to try to assuage the pain and confusion the families are feeling, to direct them to much needed family support services, and critically, to abate the desire that someone might have to seek revenge through additional gun violence. They stand in the gap, as the Bible says, between what has happened and what might happen next. These efforts prevent crimes that might emanate from an event like this, crimes that would spawn more crimes in an endless cycle of retaliation. Why this is not all the department does, it is a critically important part of it, and a significant reason why our homicides and non-fatal shootings are down 60%. Up until now, this program has been 100% grant funded. There are opportunities for both state and federal grants to extend this program. However, we will not know if these grants will be awarded until after this budget has passed, which puts us in the uncomfortable position of planning for an uncertain future. This budget repeals the policy set last year that requires this department to be 100% grant funded. As an aside, there is no other department that has such a requirement. No other service we've decided can only exist if someone else pays for it. It also creates city levy funded positions to keep the 3 staff in this department going. Our expectation is that we will get one or both of these grants, but there are no guarantees, and we cannot gamble with people's lives on the hope that grants may come or may never come. The work that the Department of Community Safety does is based on the research done on gun violence interventions in Boston. The book, Bleeding Out, lays out their experience with unflinching honesty. What they found in Boston, which could be a cautionary tale here as well, a warning written in blood if we're wise enough to read it, is after seeing initial success with gun violence reduction, the erroneous conclusion they made in Boston was that the gun violence had abated, that they'd solved it, that they could reduce these efforts and move on. The exact opposite was true. By reducing these gun violence prevention efforts, Boston saw their gun violence increase again, climbing back towards levels they fought so hard to bring down. Let's learn from other communities' mistakes so that we don't have to repeat them. If we want to prevent crime and reduce gun violence, we need to keep these efforts going, steady and sustained, not starting and stopping, like a car with a bad engine. In the year ahead, we will look at how to better identify who is coming and going from our community centers in response